So Nicole here, and today I kind of just wanted to talk about the importance of retrospectives, why it's important to go back and look at what just happened, right? Examine how it went. Did it go well? Is there something you should never do again? And it could be even better if what, right? And so that's what I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to talk about not just the importance of a retrospective, but major things that have happened for me in my life by me actually taking time out to retrospect and to retrospect quickly. Don't go anywhere. Stay right here on this channel. We're going to deep dive into it right here on AC Your Agile Career. Of a different vibe today, right? And so I'm not in my dark office today, but listen, anywhere I am, I'm in my office, okay? So welcome to AC Your Agile Career, where we give you tips and techniques to be successful from beginning to winning, regardless of your industry. Today, I want to talk about the retrospective. In Agile, we know the retrospective to be a look back of the sprint, but a retrospective could be anything, right? It could be a look back of an event. It could be a look back of a program, and it doesn't have to wait necessarily long. Ideally, a retrospective should be close to the ending of the thing that you're looking to retrospect. So retro means to go back, and we're going to talk about a good retrospective, and I'm going to talk about it from a business, an entrepreneur aspect, because y'all know me, I'm about Agile everything. On this channel, you're going to get more than just Agile, because Agile is a component of life, right? Agile is a component of successful behavior. So you're always going to get it from multiple viewpoints. But let's talk about a retrospective real fast, how to conduct one, why it's important to do it as close to the event as possible, and then really the questions you should be asking. And then I want to give you some real case studies, some real scenarios of how holding retrospectives have helped me in my business. So I'm Nicole, in case I haven't said that. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any great content. And let's jump in. So a retrospective, first of all, is centered around three main questions, right? No matter how you ask it, there are three questions that you're trying to get out of so you can do something about those questions. By the way, if you think you're just going to ask three questions for the sake of asking, you've got the wrong concept. So in a retrospective, where you are going back to quickly examine something that just happened, right? Like I said, an event, a program, a product, even a phone call, right? Like you can retrospect how something just went, like a phone call, a training, anything. The goal of it is to ask the question. So the first question is to ask what went really, really well. Like, what did we absolutely like? What did we love? Like, what did we nail? We nailed this thing. And the goal is you want to get as much feedback as possible. So with a retrospective, it's typically with another person. You can do them alone as well, but it's typically with a group of people and you're asking them for the feedback. You can collect it anonymously, or you can collect it live in the group, or you can also collect a retrospective behind the scenes and then talk about the outcomes publicly. So there's a lot of ways to hold a retrospective. I'm just going to give you the quick and fast way that I'm speaking of today. So let's just say that you schedule a retrospective call. In my case, I'll make this real. I just had a major event that on the surface seemed to be wildly successful. It was called the Queen City Women in Business event. It was on behalf of Skilldora, our company, and for the event team that I put together, I wanted to hold the retrospective with them because they were close to the craziness. They were close to the fire, right? All the stuff that happened behind the scenes, this is the team that would know it. So I put a retrospective together, and my first goal was to find out, man, what did we nail? What did we get right? We nailed it. We got it great out the gate. Okay, that was the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to know is what should we absolutely never do again? And it's really important to contrast the first question. Some people try to make their retrospective questions too soft and too nice, and you don't want to, even though the retrospective questions should be respectful, don't get me wrong, but there needs to be contrast between the questions. So if you ask, what did we absolutely nail? Then your second question should be, what should we absolutely never do again? The third question, really what you're getting at with that third question is, what went well, but it could be improved upon? What I like to ask is, what was okay, but it would have been even better if, right? So the even better if, or what we call EBI, I know there's all types of retrospective questions that are still getting after the same 3 objectives, and you can ask the questions differently, but this is what I'd like to ask. What did we nail? What did we just knock out the park? We did so well. That's question 1. Question 2, what should we absolutely lose? We should kill it. We should never, ever, ever do this again. It was such a, not a great idea, okay? You gotta be really, really clear with the contrast. And then thirdly, like I said, it would have been even better if we would have done this, which is really what could be improved upon. And that's really the crux of a great retrospective. Now, I'm actually doing this week. So we just had an event yesterday, and I emailed the team and said, hey team, great job. I thank you guys for this. Listen, it's important to me to hold a retrospective as quickly as possible. Could we do this on Friday? The reason why this matters is because you want to have this event, this retrospective, happen as close to the event as possible to keep the momentum high, because people remember when it's close. They're still in the synergy, they're still in momentum, they still remember what just happened yesterday. And since I launched the question, they're probably thinking today on what those things look like. So you want to hold the retrospective as close to the event as possible. But the other thing that I found that's highly efficient is you don't have to wait to get to the retrospective on Friday to ask those questions. Now you can, a lot of Agile coaches and Scrum Masters and teams like to do it in the moment, but I found personally, after years of coaching and doing retrospectives, that it was more valuable for me to put the questions together anonymously, to use like a Slido poll or something to collect the data first, right, ahead of the meeting, and then at the meeting sort of restate and say, these were the 3 questions that we asked about the event, by the way. And I always start with the thing, right? We had an event on Tuesday. Some of the goals of the event were X, Y, and Z. After the event, I asked this group 3 questions around how it went, 3 retro questions. I asked this, I asked that, and I asked this, and this is what you all told me anonymously. So I don't know who said what, but let's kind of unpack what your data said. So I just found that if I ask the questions ahead of time, and I give people a chance to answer anonymously, I almost always have people who are more willing to give that feedback, not under pressure, right? There's something about having a moment to really think critically around how they want to answer those questions. So I just want to let you know that that's how I recommend retrospectives. Now, when I get to this meeting with my team on Friday, I'll have the data, and the way that we will sort of approach the retro is I will say, this is the question, this is what you all said. Wonderful. So nothing to talk about here. Let's just duplicate what we did well. So I tend not to spend a lot of time on what went well. I mean, it's important to acknowledge what went well if you knocked it out the park, but if you only have 30 minutes, you don't need to spend a lot of time on what went well other than to duplicate what went well, but you probably want to give more attention to like what didn't go well. And so I focus on what we're never going to do again and why. And then I also focus on it would have been even better if, right? Which is how you're going to maximize your meeting and have a much more efficient meeting. So on Friday when we meet, I will do the what went well last. I'll acknowledge it and say, that's great. Let's focus on what we should never do again. Let's start the conversation there and talk about why, okay? And so what I'm going to do is kind of restate and say, you guys said we should never do these things again. Before we jump in, is there anything else we should add to this list? So I may give people a moment there in case they see something that triggers them to add something else. If not, we're gonna just jump in copiously and start tackling what we should never do again and why. And this will help to trigger the discussion in a very organic, authentic way. Now, when we talk about what we should never do again, the goal is not to fight about it. The goal is not to really argue about it. These are people's perspectives. Understanding why will be important because somebody may have reasoning that I disagree with as the event organizer, but it's important for me to hear it. And I, as the organizer and the owner of the retrospective, needs to come to the table being open and willing and receptive. And I need to show that to the team. So again, we're going to analyze why. We're going to probably vote on how many other people agree with something that we don't need to do again, which will give valuable insight. And then the even better if. This is a really interesting thing because, and I like posing it this way, by the way. I don't like saying what could be improved upon. It's easier for people to say, hey, this was good, but it would have been even better if. I found that triggers natural discussion faster. So we will then focus on the even better if, and they will start to unpack what those things were, why we feel that way, and then usually natural solutioning happens. So I hope that this is helpful. Let me give you some real examples before we go of like how retrospectives have helped me to be a boss, like really boss up, show up and show out in my brand. When I first started launching training courses in 2020, online certification courses in Agile, by the way, shout out to the CATP, Certified Agile Transformation Professional course. I remember I started utilizing retrospectives to find out what wasn't working. And I found out very quickly in the 2-day course, a lot of people didn't like that I didn't give them any prep work ahead of the course. They felt that the course went too fast for someone who doesn't understand Agile. So that was a learning lesson for me. I was able to take that data and put sort of a warm-up course, a basics course in front of that, like a free basics, a free warm-up that was mandatory that you did the warm-up before you joined the 2-day course. So that was one way that it helped me. Also, there were people who wanted to do something beyond the course. They felt that, okay, Nicole, we got this certification, but you don't really help us to market ourselves or build our brand now that we have this certification. What's next? So I found out through data, through holding a retrospective, that people felt like there wasn't enough support on what happens next, which allowed us to build a post follow-up after the course where our team met with people for 15 minutes and also had some resources in place to help people with what was next, okay? One more thing that we found out through retrospectives that allowed us to really boss up is we found out that there was too much data in those 2 days. There was too much information. The course moved too fast, and it would be even better if it was paced and it was slowed down to only the most important things. So these are some ways that retrospectives have helped us to fix our business and to really be a leader in our industry of AI ed tech, AI e-learning. So these are just some things I'm going to share with you. Last thing I want to say, retrospectives, a lot of people don't like retrospectives sometimes, especially like non-Agile people. The idea of collecting feedback early and often can be off-putting, but the reason why we have those questions, these questions worded this way, are sort of the protector of feelings. This is to ensure that data is going to be collected and received in the most respectful, professional way, and so you don't get mishandling of feedback, right? You don't get people who's trying to tear you down in this way. But if you say things we should never do again, then people usually have to justify why that is, and that's something worth hearing. Or if someone says it would be even better if, that is a very proactive, useful way of giving feedback. So I just want to share, retrospectives are important, not just for Agile, but beyond Agile in everyday life and work, and they can help you to be an industry leader. Don't sleep on your retrospectives. Listen, I hope you got a lot of value. If so, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any further great value. And as always, keep calm and be agile with Nicole, where I give you real advice from a real practitioner anywhere in the world, whether it's her office or anywhere. Take care. Bye-bye.